Yo, 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 what it do? What it do? You already know the name. It's him, it's him. It's your boy. It's the GM. It's the KLAS. You know, my mama tried to stop me. She asked me, hey, man, why you spell classic with a K? I said, Mom, because your boy is so sick. That's right, man. It's your boy Classic here. And yo, we just about to have a good day on, man. We got the crew here. It looked like it's an all fellas day. We got the professor in the house. Professor, how you feeling?
Well, first off, couple things, man. To our ringside family, thank you for getting us to 3,000.
Yes, sir.
It's a beautiful feeling. Then on top of that, we get to celebrate our 100th episode with a very special guest. So, I'm excited.
It's a century mark.
Yes.
Let's go. And you probably can't see him, but I know you can hear him. It's our boy. It's the SM Ghost himself. Yo, talk to the people. Just let them know how you doing. They can't see you, but they can hear you. Let them know how you do.
I'm doing great, but I'm so sad that the public school system failed you, dude.
Somehow I failed.
The KLA, well, yeah. Classic has never been spelled with a K. I don't care where you're from, not even in the South. So I'm just sad that the public school system failed you the way they did. But it's your boy, Stilo, aka SMG, the social media ghost. I want to let everyone know, again, thank you for our streams. We are blessed to be here. I am incredibly honored to be in front of you all, but even more of that, of our guest that we have here with us. I'm incredibly excited to hear from him, hear what he has to share with us. And I know this will be an awesome and dope experience. So.
Okay, first of all, the school system didn't fail me. I made this choice to put a K in there.
So you failed yourself.
No, I didn't fail.
So you made the choice to be illiterate. Okay, that makes sense.
It's actually not a fail. It's actually not a fail. Okay, do you know how many classics there in this world?
They already believe that black men can't read, so they go ahead with that
stereotype. But there's some that choose not to. Okay.
I really don't want to make our guests blush, but
I'll do that, and I'll be a cowardly heel today, even more so.
But speaking of choices, we got a man that chose, he wanted to be a champion and he became champion. We got our Mr. Know-It-All champion, Mr. $1 Million Mac himself, my partner, Mr. Mac Tez Ford right here, the heel himself. Man, tell him how you feeling, Mr. MDM, bro.
Oh, champ is me. Champ is also you, viewers, listeners. Thank you for your support. You are definitely champion status right along with me, but back in character I go. Hey, man, wrestling is on fire right now, every other which way. But today I just might be a cowardly heel because our guest today, hey, anything you need, I'm on your side. I don't want no problems and no issues whatsoever. GM,
I'll second that.
GM, let me need anything.
Man, let them know who we got in the house today right now, man.
Look, we got a straight legend in the house today. I say straight, I mean straight out legend in the house. And also, he is an innovator, but not an innovator of anything. He's the innovator of sports terrorism. And look, if you don't know what that means, trust me, we're gonna get into that today. But also, this might be the most violent man you ever met in your life, but also the most nicest. But still, we're gonna stick to the violence because today all violence is legal. We got the current PCW tag team champion. We got a former NWA world champion. That's why he held the 12-pound of gold, and he said it was so heavy, but hey, he was able to pick it up every day, baby. That's right. We have the almighty Sheik, man. Man, come on, just say what's up to the people. Let them know how you're doing. Just don't burn us with a fireball, please. I'm telling you.
Yeah, no,
please. We don't want that.
What's up, y'all? What's up, man? Hey, that was a hell of an entrance, man. Thank you so much. Happy 100 episode. It's an honor to come and celebrate with you guys. I was enjoying all the banner in the front, and yeah, man, we're gonna have a good time tonight. I brought the beer. Come on now.
Oh yeah,
let's go.
Hey, we got beers, we got red cups, man. I tell you, look, all violence is legal, all language is legal. There's no telling what you're gonna hear today. All right, so. But the first question I got for you though is when we were talking about being the innovator of sports terrorism, like what inspired you to get into just violent matches? What just inspired you to go into sports terrorism, and what does that mean? What does it mean to you?
Well, I mean, what inspired me to get into violent matches was Bruiser Brody, Abdullah the Butcher, the original Sheik, Terry Funk, Kevin Sullivan. Those were guys that when I came up and I saw those guys as a fan, those are the guys that made, that did something to me. They moved me, So those are the guys I identified with. As a kid, as a teenager, I was always in like some pits and always fighting and always in, bad situations. And I got a kind of a sadistic reputation. So when I got into professional wrestling, I kind of gravitated right towards that type of work. And I noticed that it really evoked emotion from the people, So it was just something that was natural to me and something that worked for me and something that I made a career almost 25 years at.
Nice.
Is amazing. I tell you, man, look, with everything violent you've done, I say the two nicest violent people I ever seen is you and Mick Foley. I love it. It's dope, man.
Well, we get it all out, you know what I mean? So we never walk around like this because, man, we get it all out all the time. So it's all good. It's all happy. It's all happy.
Nice. I might need to take that advice. Next, I think we have our own professor with a question.
Yeah, so Sheik, how did you get your name from Sabu? I was real curious because I know I was reading up on it. I know he gave you his blessings to use it. So I was like, how did that happen? That's dope.
I'm real old school. I got trained the right way, and when I first came up, you didn't really get to pick your name. I broke in the wrestling business in 1998, and that was a lifetime ago, man. It was just a different world. We walked out there and they were like, you guys are the Market Crashers. Okay. So we were the Market Crashers for years. And then my partner, I was in a tag team, and my partner decided he didn't want to wrestle anymore. So gravitating towards that sadistic character, I felt like it was time for me to break out and be that Bruiser Brody, Abdullah Butcher kind of a character. So I thought, I'm kind of racially ambiguous. Nobody really knows what I am. So some people think I'm Middle Eastern, some people think I'm Italian, some people think I'm Spanish, so I thought that, whenever I was in Puerto Rico or Mexico or any of these places, I always kind of blended in. So I thought because of that, I could do this Middle Eastern character. It was very topical at the time. I broke in 98. 9/11 was 2001. So I was real old school. I still am real old school. I always will be. I went to Sabu and I asked him if I could use the name out of respect. If he would have said no, I wouldn't have done it. So I went to him and I asked him. I had, run towns with him in Puerto Rico before. We had driven miles together. So I had a little rapport with him. So I went and asked him, man, and I came at him correct. And he said, no problem. Do what you got to do. And the rest is history, man. And I ran with it. And I like to think that I did the name justice. I like to think that I just wasn't another guy doing it. I actually brought prominence to the name. I brought some legit world championships to the name. So at the end of the day, I think it all worked out good for both sides.
Oh, definitely. I don't think it's getting any more legit than that 12 pound of gold. I'm like, that's that man. You want to talk about pro wrestling? That's history right there. So
that's what I'm saying. That's
most definitely.
Well, real quick about that, the NWA championship, nobody ever held the NWA championship and the AWA championship, and technically I did, because 0-1 ended up that, pulling in that championship, and then they had the AWA belt, and they used it as their championship, and I wrestled main event in Cork and Hall against Yoji Sai, and I ended up defeating him for the 0-1 belt, which was the AWA championship. So I got that little tidbit in my history, which is pretty cool, man. I ended up holding both titles at the same time, actually.
That's dope. We gonna go back to we definitely gonna go back to that NWA title because I got some questions. A question about that.
The question about that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The question.
Yeah. Mr. $1 Million Mac, I believe you have one.
Oh, but of course, I have a few. Tell me about what it's like being a professional wrestler when it's time to live regular life and you're out and about, you're coming across fans, people who may recognize you, people who don't. Like, how do you carry yourself in that life? What is it like?
I'm just real, dude. So I've always never, bought into the gimmick. I always had a grounded lifestyle. I knew that when I was out on the road, it was time to work. And that's another reason why I've been around so long. I didn't get really, I drank some beers, I hung out and stuff like that, but I never really got caught up, and I never got a huge, crazy ego and all that stuff. Cause that stuff just, it destroys a person, So I had my wife. I've been married now for, since 2003. Been together for 20 years, been married 18 years. So I always had a good home life and stuff. Whenever I'd go out and people would see me, man, I'd be honored, man. And I'd always be very gracious with fans because, man, how could you not be? I mean, I don't understand the mentality of being bothered or this. I mean, I can understand if you're Brad Pitt and it's coming at you from every angle, every second, you know what I mean? I get that. I didn't have that luxury, but when fans would come out and notice me or, pay some respect to me or something, or tell me, hey, I like what you did or this and that, man, I was just flattered. And I would give them my time, because these are people that support me, so if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to make a living.
Oh man, it's definitely good to hear that. I mean, because like you said, you do come across certain individuals and they're just like very standoffish, or it's just, oh my God, you recognize me, I don't want to be bothered today, that type of thing. But when you're in this type of business, as far as entertainment is concerned, you kind of have to be that type of person that's like, well, let me just give my fans this, because who knows, it may change their life. It may set them off in a different direction, anything.
It's all about approach too. I mean, if somebody comes up to me and they approach me, in a certain way that, if somebody approached me in my personal life that way, I wouldn't have none of it. Well, I'm not going to have none of it that way either. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You're going to disrespect me or act like you own me or say something silly. Well, then, I'm a man, so I'm not going to, just cower.
It's all violence at that point.
I own my fans. But most of my fans, they always come to me with respect, and they're always really cool. And, they don't want to get fireballed. They don't want to get spiked. So they come at me pretty correct. And I always am gracious. And I usually have just great experiences. Every once in a while, you get that guy. And it's few and far between.
Oh man. But Stilo, I can't see you. Go where you. Oh, there you go. Okay, there you go. Hey, I think you got a question, sir. I couldn't find you at first, but there you go, right there.
I most certainly do. So, Champ, in the industry, you have the pedigree, awesome guy, excellent wrestler. Could you share with us, throughout your career, what would you say was your best match and what was your worst, and why were those your best and worst matches?
Wow. Well, I would have to say my best match was probably with Jacob Fatu against the Lucha Brothers. And I think that was the best match because it was just so natural. The finish went off without a hitch. It was just really, really fun. The audience was there. I mean, it was a really, really thick atmosphere.
Okay.
I'm not a big, I don't really care that much. And this is going to sound, probably not going to sound that great. I don't care about the moves. I care about this feeling we bring. I care about the mood. I care about the vibe of that match. And I care about the finish. Obviously, I want the match to go well.
So you're not big on spots?
Well, I'm not big on spots because, unless they mean something, I'm big on vibe. Like, I like that big entrance and like when there's something to fight for and like the crowd is into it and they want to see it, because when stuff is like that and the atmosphere is like that, as performers, we grow. It's just really, for me personally, it really, really feeds what I'm doing. If the match doesn't really mean anything or nothing like that, then I've got to kind of orchestrate that feeling. I gotta, and that's cool too. Some nights I got to build that. But when it's there already and the people are biting and they're biting hard and they want it, oh man, that's amazing. As far as my worst match, I would probably say it was in a tournament in Australia. And the reason why it was my worst match is because the guy I was wrestling was really, really impatient. And I was getting heat off the people. And, you know, the people in Australia they don't mess around, man. They're
Define what impatience looks like.
Well, he went and did something before he was supposed to. And what was happening was I was getting heat off the people. And okay. I'm a slow, methodical heel. So as the people, I read the people. I'm more ad-lib when I'm out there. I don't go and I don't do all this stuff and call all these things. I'm very ad-lib. So I feel off the people. And if the people they're wanting to yell, well, then I'm going to take a second and I'm going to give it to them and I'm going to pull it out. And then when the time's right, I'm going to switch it, you know? So I was reading the people and the people wanted to do something and I was playing with them. And he was impatient. He jumped on me before I had turned around and he spun me around and just ripped all the ligaments in my ankle and broke the outer bone in my leg. And I've only been hurt twice in wrestling. And that was one of them. First time I was hurt, I was in Puerto Rico. The second time I was hurt, I was in Australia. So both times have been far away from home. But this time in particular was a bad injury. And I had to stay in Australia for weeks. I had to get surgery there and stuff like that. So yeah, that was my worst one because the match didn't finish. The guy didn't listen. We had wrestled the night before and he came back and he was like, holy crap, you're right. It's so easy. And like he was following me. The next night he forgot everything and went back to his old ways and then he was just impatient. And, you know, I should have been, you know, this was a while ago. I should have been watching him more. I trusted him a little too much, but that's what we do in this business. You know, we put our bodies on the line and sometimes we do dangerous things and get hurt, but sometimes we get hurt and it's out of our control, you know, and I mean, like I said, I've only been hurt twice in this business. Okay. One was my fault and one was the other guy's fault. So in almost 25 years, you'd like to say that I'm pretty careful, you know, so that, you know, I've, you know, only had 2 surgeries, which is, you know, guys that have been in it as long as me, they're usually not that lucky to say that. So
right. So with that, how much of it what's the typical code when if someone injures you? Do they reach out to you in DM? Do they come to the hospital room? Are there guys that make an effort to kind of come in and apologize for the spot? Or is it kind of like, hey, it's the business? Okay.
No, guys, you know, nobody wants to hurt anybody else. And you're in front of all your peers in the back, you know, you never want to hurt anybody. You know, but yeah, guys typically they'll, you know, it depends on your character. You know what I mean? If it was me and I hurt somebody, you know, of course I would feel terrible. You know, to be honest, I've only hurt one person in my career and it was recently. And it was just a day that was a whirlwind. We didn't have a lot of space. We did something and I ended up busting somebody open with a chair. And I had never hurt anybody, but man, I was sick, man. I was, you know, messaging them, texting them, calling them, you know, and just hoping that they don't, they're okay. B, they don't think I suck, you know, God, this guy's reckless. You know what I mean? I don't want anybody to think that, you know, after you find out they're okay, you're like, oh man, you know, you feel like you would imagine you'd feel, you know what I mean? You don't want to hurt anybody, you know? So yeah, it sucks sometimes, but it is what it is. It's the business. It is the business, you know? So, you know, you just gotta be very, very careful. That's the thing with the youth is when you're wrestling younger guys, they have a completely different mentality than somebody that's been on the road for as long as I have, you know. I want to get home. You know what I mean? I don't, and every single time I wrestle, I don't want to be back on the plane or in the car, beat to hell. You know what I mean? My style looks very, very brutal, but it's very controlled for me. You know what I mean? And so I don't typically get hurt, you know? So yeah. So I like to be careful with people and I like people to be careful with me because, you know, we only got one body.
Okay. It's a straight controlled chaos. And I love it.
Yes.
So And that's actually a big thing to say. Like 25 years in the business, like I said, through bumps and bruises, only injured twice. That's big. And seeing how through your career you already you broke some barriers, like you said, like having the two championships at the same time. There's also a certain barrier that we have nowadays called a forbidden door. Mm-hmm. And so my question is, while you're still, in your career, you're still hitting on all cylinders. Is there any other promotion that you want to terrorize while you're still kicking at it?
Well, I'm a lifer. I've given my life to professional wrestling. The first time I saw it, I knew I was going to do it for the rest of my life. And I was just waiting to the time I got to do it. And as soon as I got to do it, I knew I was never gonna lose hold of it. So, the answer is yes. I'd love to go anywhere. It's always, the time is right, the place is right, decimals in the right point, you know what I mean? And all that stuff. So yeah, I'm still, my body isn't as young as my mind. I think I'm more of an asset behind the scenes. I'm also, I think I'm an asset on the microphone.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I would love to be a special attraction or something where I'd wrestle once in a while, or do something almost like an Abdullah the Butcher, something like that. And but man, I'm a lifer in pro wrestling. I want to build it. Like I like, that's why I have PCW Ultras, because I like to build this thing. I like to take this from the ground level and build a monument to professional wrestling with the most talented people that I can find, So, it's, I'm 100% focused on PCW Ultra. But I'd also entertain going anywhere else. I don't think, I hate saying things like this out loud because people say, oh, bull crap, whatever. But I really don't want to go anywhere that's going to keep me on the road every single week. I would maybe, it's like, I kind of carved my life out the way I want it to be, so right. I look at wealth as, having the freedom to do what I want. And, I don't really want to disrupt that freedom. I really love my life. I really love my family. I travel a lot, with my wife. So, I wouldn't want to disrupt that and say, oh my God, every single day I got to be doing wrestling. I got to be flying here, there, and this and that. I feel like I've earned it to where I can step back a little bit. That's why I really love PCW Ultra, as far as a project, because I can rev the gas. I can put the brakes on. I can go right. I can go left. I can go up. I can go down. It's all under my control. So I get all of my wrestling fix. And I think it's a pretty amazing place. I think it's really done right. It's very, very, very small, but it feels and looks very big. If anybody knew how tiny this thing was, this is PCW Ultra right here. That's it. That's it. Wow. It's this. Me right here, and then the day of the show, everybody comes and we run it. You know what I mean? But this thing is tiny, and the fact that Terry Funk's been there, Stan Hansen, the Great Muda, Pentagon, Rob Van Dam has been our champion. Rob Van Dam was there for years. Just to have all these guys, and all the female wrestlers and the luchadors and just everybody that's been, in our ring. It's the who's who of wrestling. And I'm very, very proud of that. I'm very, very proud of what we've built there.
And while you're on it with PCW, because I know the two things that I absolutely love you in, and I know you from, if other than NWA, is PCW right now, and Contra and MLW. And so just speak on the energy that you get from PCW and also MLW, because it seems like they have the same type of energy, just like like real. I don't want to say real wrestling fans, but real, like just I love real wrestling. I just want to be a wrestling fan.
There's a realistic aspect to it. It's like wrestling from the 70s and the 80s. Well, before the cartoon era. It's more like like Florida Championship Wrestling was Mid-South, but Florida Championship Wrestling really influenced Puerto Rico, and Florida Championship Wrestling really influenced ECW. It's that storytelling with violence and color and characters, realistic angles, real, hard-hitting matches. Like, you're going to see very, very technical stuff. Like, you're going to see the Timothy Thatchers. You're going to see the smooth guys like Swerve and all these types of wrestlers. And then you're going to see like Warbeast and Jacob Fatu and the Sheik and you're going to see the, just the best of the best, but every single style, the full spectrum of wrestling. So that to me is like Florida Championship Wrestling. It's that 80s era, that 70s, 80s era of wrestling, not the WWF cartoon style. Which, is great too. I really loved the Macho Man back then. I really loved Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. Yeah. I almost got to work with the Macho Man. I was in Puerto Rico when he was doing stuff in Florida. And then when I got back from Puerto Rico, the stuff he was doing in Florida had died out. It was back when the internet was early on and they were doing like these web TV things where it was like internet wrestling. And, it was just what people would do early on, and it never really caught on anywhere. And the business was really different back then too, as far as the internet. Like, if you'd make a website or something, the old timers would get mad at you. They'd be like, "What are you doing? Who do you think you are? Like, why are you making like what? Like they didn't understand
in the business."
Yeah, they didn't understand the internet back then. They didn't realize how much it was going to explode wrestling. Especially the indies. It actually the internet allowed the independents to bubble up where they never had bubbled up before. Like the independents are just rocking right now. It's like it's never been in my career, and I've been around for a few decades. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's dope. I mean, I'm gonna stick with the theme of PCW and MLW. How did you and Jacob Fatu come up with Warbeast and Contra? Because this is brilliant.
So genius.
So Warbeast was my concept, and Kevin Sullivan basically mentored me. Kevin Sullivan taught me everything that I know about booking, about everything about wrestling. So Warbeast is kind of homage to the Kevin Sullivan character, and I had taken the Almighty Sheik as far as I thought I could take it. And I wanted to turn into this. I just wanted to be closer to myself, and so I started doing this Warbeast thing. At first, I had Brody King. It was me and Brody King, and then Jacob was the third. And then Brody wanted to wrestle singles, and Jacob was like, "Hey, what's up with the war? I want to be with you." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So then me and Jacob switched to the tag team, and we just got on, man. And it was just such a magical dynamic. We were just so different that it worked, And Jacob came in just so talented. I had to lace him up on a few business things, but he's all straight now. Like he was just young, he hadn't experienced certain things. So I'd lace him up on some stuff that he hadn't experienced yet, stuff to look out for, stuff that's around the corner, but man, his talent was just blew my mind every time I saw it. So I came up with the Warbeast concept, and then MLW, I guess they liked what PCW Ultra was doing. So basically, they started kind of pulling guys out of PCW Ultra. They got Hammerstone, they got me and Fatu, and they came to me with a concept that was like a Suzuki gun. And look, I don't really watch wrestling, to be honest. Like I watch like old school wrestling. Like I'm not really a fan of anything that's newer. And I don't mean that like I just if I want to watch wrestling, I watch Harley Race, I watch Bruiser Brody. That's just what I like. It's like music, If I listen to music I like, so I'm not listening to like new pop music or nothing like that. It's just not my thing. So it was like Suzuki Gun or something like that, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know what that was. So we got kind of picked for Contra Unit, like almost like actors would get picked for a movie, right? So they're just like, hey, we're gonna do this, this, and this, and that, and then I wasn't even supposed to be the leader. Like I was just coming in and me and Jacob were a tag team or whatever. And then I just started spitting on the mic and they were like, oh shit, like really? And I was like, yeah, man, that's what we're doing. And then, I just kind of made my spot, you know, and I just kept acting like the leader and I just became this leader. And then I just kind of morphed into this kind of like almost like a Pablo Escobar kind of, you know, character, like an underworld crime character. And, you know, the concept was pretty loose when we started. And to be honest, like probably the first 6 months, I didn't even know what it was. Like, I was just like, wow. I don't know what they want us to do. Like, I don't even know what it was. And then we just kind of formed into this thing. And then there was some of the stuff was a little hokey, you know, it was like, but I just committed to it. And then the fans would be like, man, you know, this concert unit is like, the stuff they're doing is crazy, but like Samael is like committed to this stuff. So it's actually working. So because we committed to it and we acted as if it was the shit and it was real and we were these guys, it just worked, man. We just, in the business, there's this saying of, you know, you got to believe your own bullshit if you want the people to believe what you're doing, you know. So that's what we did. We went out there and we believed it, and then the people believed it. And it was a really fun time for my career. That rise of Contra was something very, very special that a lot of wrestlers, I don't think, you know, they won't get to experience things like that in their career. And I knew as it was happening that it was special. So I was very fortunate. Like as it was happening, I was like enjoying it. And it was a really, really fun ride on the way up. I really did enjoy Contra Unit. Not sure if it's, you know, ever coming back or anything like that, but you know, hey, I'm always ready to jump into that character again.
You dropping a gem right there, because you know, for those that do watch MLW, you know what I mean, there's no telling what happened with Contra, so you kind of leaked something, but you know,
you know, have to tune in and see. It's a little something.
Figure it out. So you speak about your career a lot, but let's take a road down being an actual fan. I mean, because it always begins somewhere. You brought up a lot of legends, and they're going to tie into my final question a little bit later on, because I just know where you're headed mentally about that. But as a fan, what was the first match that you saw that really captured your attention and made you go, you know what, professional wrestling is it?
I'll tell you, I know the exact moment. I was on the back of my brother's motorcycle. I was 3 years old. I was barefooted and I burned my heel on the exhaust pipe. I ran inside crying. And when I ran inside crying, I ran past the TV and I saw this white flash. And I looked and it was Dusty Rhodes with a big afro. And he was just spitting. And it was 1977. I'm old, guys. It was 1977, and my mom said that I looked at the TV and I just sat down.
Yeah, I wasn't born yet.
Every single Saturday that I would try to get that show on, and she put it on for me, and then she told my dad, "Hey, take them Monday night to wrestling." And right down the street from our house, 15 minutes away, was Championship Wrestling from Florida at the West Palm Beach Auditorium every Monday night. Walked in the door. Harley Race was the world's heavyweight champion. Dusty Rhodes was there. Wahoo McDaniel, Steve Kerr, Mike Graham, Bubba Douglas, Sonny King, Cruiser Brody. I mean, the Briscoes, the Funks. And that's what I grew up on. Every Monday night, pretty soon, they all knew me. They knew me so much that if I didn't come because I was sick or something, they'd tell me, "Where's Joey at? Where's he at?" You know, everybody knew me. So I was running around the bowels of that building as, you know, the 3, 4, 5-year-old kid. And I guess I was kind of in the business. I was in the back running around and stuff. And you know, like Jimmy Garvin was there. He was super cool. Yeah, man, all those old timers now, they were young guys. Like Jimmy Garvin was probably early 20s, Steve Kern, same, Mike Graham. And and it was Eddie Graham's Championship Wrestling from Florida, Gordon Soley. And man, that was it. So I was very, very fortunate. I lived in Florida and I got to see that and I got to experience all that. And then being in Florida, I ended up being on shows with Mike Graham and Steve Kern and Kevin Sullivan. I wrestled Dusty Rhodes and Outlaw Ron Bass and all these guys. And then I went to Puerto Rico and the Bushwhackers and all these guys. And yeah, just all these old Florida, championship wrestling from Florida guys. I ended up, getting to be in a ring with a lot of them. So that was really cool for me. It'd be like, if you were a baseball fan and you're you're sitting there, in there with Mickey Mantle, and that's old for you guys. You know what I mean?
We get
Dwight Gooden's still old.
It's like you got some years on us, but you only probably got about maybe 10 on me. And I like to pride myself as a third generation wrestling fan. So when I was introduced to it, I was taken back to a lot of everything that I missed before 85, 86, you know what I'm saying? And then I was able to catch up and keep up with it from there. So it's just a joy to hear you talk about some of your favorites, because they were some of my favorites as well before I even knew what a face was, what a heel was, what it was like.
Yeah, that was the best time, man.
Oh man, it was
so good.
So wonderful. But in a day and age of where we are now, and especially like since you got started from then all the way up until now, being a Sheik is very, very, very controversial. Very controversial. And I know you pushed the envelope so many times in many different ways. Have you ever received any death threats? And if so, how did you handle that?
Yeah, I had a legit death threat on site. I've been attacked like 15 times in the 2000, and I was really on fire. 2010, 11, 12, 13. And I was like, people were attacking me. They attacked me. At one time, this Samoan guy tried to rip me out of the ring in Arizona. Another time I was in a border town, and I was wrestling Carlito it was in Texas. Oh man, I can't think of the name of the town right now. But anyway, it was in Texas, and this guy just, when you get the people in certain places and you get them to where they're boiling over and there's no security, you have to be very, very careful. So we spilled to the outside. I'm just putting it on Carlito, and I see this guy. So I see the fans are starting to spill over. So I'm like, okay. So I turn it around, let Carlito get up on me. They start getting happy and they start to settle down, right? Well, this one guy, Carlito's got me in a headlock. I said, let's get back to the ring, because I started to get nervous. Somebody was going to stab me or something. It was pretty, it was pretty sketchy. And I saw this old guy coming. I'm like, he's an old guy, whatever. And he just beeline right towards me. And Carlito had me in a headlock. And I just knew this guy was coming towards me. And he just, boom, punched me right in the face. And he had a ring on, just split me right open. And Carlito goes, you want me to let you go? And I was like, no, throw me in the ring. Because if I would have jumped on the guy, the whole crowd would have jumped on me. Another time I was in Chicago, I had a chair in my hand. The fan ripped it out of my hand. I turned it around and I literally had to beat him off me with the chair. Yeah, it's been pretty sketchy. But this one time in particular with the death threat, I believe it was New Mexico. And the guy, I came out and you're on the road and you start to grow, man. You're on the road and you're fighting every night. You're in planes, trains, and automobiles, and you're drinking beers, and you just want to get home. You're a little ornery, you're whatever. And I'm on whatever day, right? And I come out and this guy spits right in my face. And I mean, just in my mouth. I mean, spit in my face, in my mouth. So I just yeah, dude, it was brutal, dude. And so I just looked at him and I thought, well, what am I going to do? So I just looked at him and act like it didn't do nothing to me. So I go, that tastes just like pussy. And he lost his damn mind. He lost his damn mind. So he went absolutely ape shit crazy. He just couldn't handle that, man. And he stormed the gate, or stormed over the thing, and I shoved him down, and it got physical. And he's like, I'm gonna kill you, like that. And I said, okay. And he went to the outside. Well, there was cops at the show, thank God. And they went and they went to the parking lot with him. The guy had a gun. They wrestled the gun out of his hand. Then they took the guy to jail. It was absolutely crazy. It's nuts that first of all, that, you know, people buy into it that much. I get it, man. You're, you know, hey, screw you, this and that or whatever. That's cool, you know, but to spit in my mouth, like, and to attack me, it's like people they go nuts, man. They go, like when we were in Puerto Rico, they used to try to, they would open up a wire hanger. And when you'd go by, they try to stab you with the wire hanger, or they throw dirty diapers at you, or they would throw spark plugs at you, or bottles. Frozen ice.
I'm sorry, you spit in my mouth. I'm slapping the hell out of you.
Yeah,
right. That's what I'm saying. I'm all like,
no, there's no conversation.
It's like,
fine.
I've got a thing
slapping the hell out of you.
Yeah, I got a thing in my. Well, I mean, and there was a bunch of them too. It wasn't like I was gonna, I was gonna have to pack a lunch. It wasn't like I was just gonna, it was a bunch of big old guys. And right. And I was there. I mean, we were going at it. But I mean, I'm just saying, it wasn't like so simple. Like it was just some punk and you just smack him and he's down. It was like we were going to fight. It was going to be a big deal. So, but yeah, man, people go crazy, man. They'll do some nutty stuff. But I don't understand. Like,
do you think it's worse with you when you were coming up? Or do you feel like in the social media age, when people have YouTube channels and social media accounts to make them more personal, do you feel like the level of crowd jumping into matches or crowds, because half the dudes don't mean nothing that they see online. They would never say that stuff to your face. But do you, in your personal opinion, do you feel like that has increased since the time from when you started? Or has it just always been a thing? We just don't see it as much.
It's decreased in major cities where major cities are very liberal. It hasn't decreased in the deep South or in third world countries, or it's situational. You know what I mean? It depends on the people, and it depends on what their mentality is, and it depends on your heat. So if you got some sort of heat that's extraordinary, it depends on if they feel compelled to do something about it. So it's really, I mean, if you're going to go to a show in Los Angeles or Seattle, or, there's going to be people that are cool and everybody's there to have a good time, and the fans are more in on it and they're kind of celebrating wrestling. I'm still a wrestler that, I mean, in PCW, I'm the, I gotta be a babyface there. You know what I mean? But I mean, in Contra Unit, our first night in the building, they were throwing everything they had into the ring. There's video online. And when we got to the back, the booker goes, I haven't seen heat like that in 20 years. And it's just,
right.
That was really that was like my thing. Like a boxer has a right hook. I just gravitated to heat. Like that was my thing. Like I could get heat no matter where I was. I just know how to push buttons a certain way. And I really know how to play, the audience. I can move them up and down and left and right. And I know how to play the audience like an instrument. And the guys today are phenomenal athletically, but they don't pay attention to their people. And they don't give the people time to absorb anything that they've done. And look, I couldn't do half of this. I couldn't do probably 98% of the stuff these guys do today. I don't try to act like I could, but I think that if these guys would just let their sell for 5 seconds, just so the guy can go, oh my God, did you see that top rope drop kick? That's it. That's all they need is 3 seconds, 4 seconds, just so they can revisit it in real time. And then when they go home in the car, the guys are going to talk, man, and that was awesome. Just so they remember, like the things we do. Like if I'm wrestling Homicide, like we're going to do something in that match that you're going to be like, what the hell? Like there's one thing in there and it's not crowded with a million other things to make you forget that one thing. There's a point. And it makes people remember it more. It's just less cluttered. It's like if somebody gave you 500 gifts, or they gave you one real meaningful gift. You're going to remember that one gift. You're not going to remember every one of those 500 gifts. You
would think more people would be less inclined to, I don't know, people just fake tough guys out here. But you think people would be less inclined for the past couple of years with COVID. And with that question, I just want to ask you, how has COVID-19 impacted PCW Ultra, and how has it impacted your personal career or family?
Well, it's impacted it tremendously, just like everybody else in the world. As far as PCW Ultra goes, it stopped us from running. In 2020, we ran our anniversary show, and then we were coming back, and we ended up having to cancel that show. We ended up the following year, 2021, we came back in October. You know, the dust had settled.
We
kind of put a show out in October just to be like, okay, let's make sure the dust has settled. We waited. We had a phenomenal show, man.
Yeah, that show was amazing.
Yeah, it just went off really great. It was a wonderful show. The fans came out, showed their support. Good vibes inside, outside the ring. It was just great. Then we went to do it again, and boom, COVID again. You know, our building shut down till June, they're saying. So we're looking for a new building now.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah, as far as, well, I mean, we're still going to run that building because I love that building. But, you know, if they're not going to be around until, you know, halfway through next year, you know, and we're allowed to run wrestling, I want to run wrestling, you know. As long as it's safe for us and the fans, then yeah, why not? If it's not safe, then we won't do it. But as far as, you know, my home life, man, it's impacted everything. My wife's a flight attendant, so, you know, my wife's out there.
For what airline?
For Alaska.
Okay. I work for Southwest. I used to work for Alaska.
Oh, I got two people. I got two of my best friends in Southwest. Yeah. My mom was in Delta. So yeah, I've been all up in standby flying my whole life.
Okay.
Oh,
so you have to pay for your flights.
Oh, I do.
Standby flying.
Not for
what?
Wrestling. For wrestling, I always get my flights taken care of because I can't stand by to make a date. But yeah, when I go vacation, and so that's why I vacation so much, is because we got the benefits.
Flying standby is affordable, but for me personally, when I'm going vacation, I'm trying to get to where I'm going. When I get bumped like 3 flights, I'm upset. I'm pissed off.
You got to do it right. Like
you got to know what day and what time to fly out.
Yeah, I've been flying standby my whole life almost since I've been, you know, because my mom was flying. My mom started Delta in '84, so you know I've flown standby forever. But you got to check the loads. You got to be smart about it. You don't want to just show up. You got to have a plan. And it's always good to have a plan on other, you know, a lot of these airlines have code shares with other companies. So you can hop on other planes. You just got to be, you got to know what you're doing, and you got to have contacts inside, and you got to be able to make stuff happen. But sometimes it can be rough. Like we flew to Spain, and then we were going to come back from Spain on Iberia, and then we ended up going to Germany just so we could fly Lufthansa first class. So we went all the way from Germany home first class. It was dope, you know.
Well, if I ever need to go to Alaska, I hit up your DMs.
Yeah, there you go.
Come on, connections being made.
I know you gotta know how to network out here. You know what I'm saying?
Networking.
So seeing how, you know, you pretty much, you say, you know, you open any promotion right now, and you already have a long list of like great opponents that you already have that faced. Have you, you know, really looked at the landscape nowadays, and is there somebody that you would like to face? I will probably say a dream match, but is there somebody that you would say, you know what, I want to get violent with that guy? Is there a couple of people or one person?
The Great Muda. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah. If I could wrestle, I mean, and I had the Great Muda in, and I didn't wrestle him. I should have, but I didn't because I wanted to give the fans him and Penta and so anyway, but yeah, the Great Muda, yeah, because I've worked with I mean the only legends that I haven't worked with have passed away. So I've worked with everybody that I've worked with Jake, I've worked with New Jack, I've worked with, Dusty.
You said New Jack. Oh boy.
Yeah,
that was a violent time.
That was a violent time. I was going to say, man, New Jack, goodness.
Oh, man. Speaking
Rest in peace.
Go ahead. You got it.
No, I was just about to ask. I just got to know. Speaking of Penta, I just need to know about how much time does it take for him to take off his glove and do Zil Menero? Like, I just need to know about how much time.
He takes his time, brother. He takes his time. Yeah.
I swear I can do like 2 or 3 minutes.
You know,
That's all about like reading the
I love working with somebody like Penta because Penta's so over. So my job is halfway done by the time I walk out there. It's all, I mean, he sets a table and it's like, boom, the people are there. So as a heel, you want to work with baby faces that are over. Mm-hmm. You know, it just makes it's difficult. Like, it's a lot harder for people for a wrestler to get people to like them than it is for a wrestler to get people to hate them. You know, it's a lot harder.
Why do you think that is?
Because people don't just go like anybody. People are like that. You know what I mean? Oh, well, fuck him. What does he got? You know, fuck him. I don't like that guy. You know what I mean? People are just like that. So, and somebody walks out like, come on, it's lame already. You know what I mean? It's like, unless they're super cool, like unless they're like, they're yoked or the Rock or there's something like that you see them, you're like, God damn, that dude's, you know, it's the old, the baby faces, the girls want to sleep with them. The guys want to be them. You know what I mean? So if you're not like that, and a lot of baby faces of the indies are not like that. You know what I mean? Oh. So it's like the fans, you know, and over the last 2 decades, you know, the fans are gravitating towards the heels anyway. You know, the problem with that is when you're a heel, just like with Contra Unit, when you're a heel, you got to be a heel. You can't do cool shit. Like, you can't do stuff to pop people. You like I never want to take away Jacob Fatu's moveset. So I would always tell Jacob, and I would always tell promoters, I'd say, Jacob's is going to be a babyface no matter what. People are going to respond to him, but I keep the heat. So I keep the heat because people don't like me when I go out there. And I do stuff where it's very methodical, it's very dirty, you know, and it evokes a, you know, an emotion that, you know, these people want to, you know, they want to shoot me, they want to spit on me, they want to throw dirty diapers on me.
Yeah, I don't know.
They want to spit in your mouth.
I don't know. Moonsaulting on a man on a stretcher. I think that can get. When I saw that, I said, "Ooh, he's on a stretcher."
I'll take credit for that. Yeah,
that is terrible. Weapon of choice. What is?
But real quick. Do you see what you just said? I don't think moonsaulting on somebody in a stretcher. See how we had to take that beautiful move that they pop with and put heat on it.
Yes.
So you take that move that people are going to respond to, and then you do something dirty with it, right? So and you do something dirty with it. When was the last time you saw a wrestling match where somebody moonsaulted through the stretcher? So it's not only is it dirty, but it's also very, very unique, and it wasn't done before. Like, it might have been done somewhere before. I'm not gonna, it's something, it's not like it's but I don't remember ever seeing it on TV. I don't remember ever seeing it. Yeah. Right. So you try to do something very unique, and then when you have somebody like Jacob Fatu that the people are going to be like, oh my God, this guy can do this. He can do that. Oh my God, it's a 300-pounder. Jump, boom. Oh my God. And he's over here now. And it's like, you got to dirty it up, man. You got to do something to make those people get mad at that moonsault because, otherwise they're happy. So that's just a little tidbit of an insider, mindset to getting heat on something that the people would normally love.
Got you.
Man. Weapon of choice. What is it?
Spike.
Spike. Outside of the spike,
it's got to be a very obvious question. It's the spike, man.
Oh yes.
Right now, I
always got it with me.
Man, that spike scares the crap out of me. I ain't gonna lie.
In the comfort of your own home.
The thing about the spike too is like, you've seen Abdullah, you've seen the original Sheik, and they're spiking people. They're spiking people. Yes. So I thought, well, what would be a way to make it just way more brutal? So I stick it in the mouth, and it's like a mix of, because I always thought the mandible claw was such a dirty move. Yeah, I just thought it was such an evil move. So I thought, man, if I get that spike and I stick it in somebody's mouth, you know, and I open them, I fish hook them with the spike, open their mouth up. It's just a great visual. I mean, and you see that in a photograph of guys pouring blood. You got a look on your face, and you're ripping his face apart with the spike. It's a pretty cool visual.
Okay. Cool.
Man,
that's
cool.
dope. Man,
that's a hell of a
like
reaction.
I said, that spike, spike
Man.
scares me, but
It's just
Yeah.
It brings about like my fear of Abdullah the Butcher, because it's just like, as a kid, it's just, you see that bloody face and you see the fork and he's just
yeah, and he's so
like,
nasty. Like he's so nasty. You're like, you would want him to get the big titty wings on you. You're like, you know, like he's scary, man. Yeah, he's so scary because he's just so gross and bloody and nuts.
Right.
You know, with them big old goo eyes. And crazy.
Oh man. So like,
hey, just so you know, that's gonna be the new hashtag. Hashtag titty wings. That's gonna be the new hashtag.
Titty wings. Abdullah the Butcher titty wings.
Hashtag titty wings.
Finisher. This brings me to my last question. I usually ask every guest that we have on a Mount Rushmore question, and this is my Mount Rushmore question for you. I need your personal favorite Mount Rushmore of terror, like top 4 most influential beings that has made you want to do what it is that you do. And I mean, like, before the bell even rings, you see this matchup and you go, there will be blood. There will be violence. Who are those top 4 for you?
Top 4, Bruiser Brody.
Okay.
Terry Funk.
Oh my.
Yes.
Stan Hansen.
Ooh.
Abdullah the Butcher.
Stan Hansen is an interesting one. I like that though. I like
Stan Hansen will knock your fucking head off, man.
Oh, definitely. I will never stand in the way
I won't deny that, man.
I was talking to Stan and I said, man, he's like, is there anything you want me to do? I says, I'll, you know, if you give me that clothesline, I would love it. He's like, oh man, I can't do it. Best way anymore. I got a fake shoulder. I got this, I got that. He said, I offered him some money and he goes, I've been offered about 10 times the amount to do that. And man, I would, you know, just the honor of it and total mark out moment. I don't give a shit. Just watching Stan Hansen in the 90s in All Japan Pro Wrestling. I mean, come on, man. In the 80s and not just insanely realistic, because it was. Another guy I really love that doesn't get any respect, but not on that 4 list, is that, have you ever seen Buzz Sawyer?
Dude,
you know what?
I've heard of that, man.
Dude, look up Buzz Sawyer. He's wild. Dude.
I'm gonna have to do that in the daytime because I don't want to have to look that up and then have to go to sleep after that. Might not get a good night's rest. It's just terrible. But fantasy booking, real quick, since you gave me that Mount Rushmore. That Mount Rushmore plus yourself, how many quarts of blood do we get? Or should I say how many gallons?
I guess as many as we don't die, you know, I don't know. But man, I was always taught, man, you don't bleed with nobody. And an old veteran told me, you said, Sheik, you bleed into them. Don't let them bleed into you. Hey, that's fine by me. Like I'm not big in mixing blood or none of that stuff. So if they're ever like the match needs something, I'm like, I'll do it. I always feel safest if it's my blood. I don't know. It's probably some sort of, that's some janky old, you know, that's some janky logic, but hey, whatever, man. It makes me feel
hey, you never know. Okay.
You're right on that. Well, I got 2 more questions for you, Sheik. So we talked about NWA before with this heavyweight title. So July 2011, you got stripped.
Yep.
What for? Like, I've never understood that, because at that time you became correct me if I'm wrong, but at that time you were like number 44. You became the 44th NWA World Heavyweight.
Oh, I think it was like 80 something. I don't know. Yeah, something like that. But it was just dumb business. It was a bunch of people. You see, the NWA at the time was operating as if it was a big deal, and nobody was paying anybody's bills every day. So when you're trying to make money and you open up some things, and you basically, I was doing business for myself and they were doing business for themselves, and that's all it was. And they couldn't pay me to sit there and listen to them and be like, oh yes, I'm going to do that. That makes sense. I'm going to make $150 and not make 5,000. Yeah, that's a good idea. They were trying to strip me off of Japan tours, and, I was making money and I was doing good stuff. And there was a lot of politics and a lot of dumb stuff that sucks about wrestling. That's another reason why I love PCW Ultra, because it's drama free. There's none of that crap there. Yeah, man, it's just a bunch of people that think that, see, wrestling is a funny thing. Wins and losses don't mean anything to some respect. But when they affect your money, they do mean something. And treating people like they don't mean something when they do mean something. Steve Austin didn't want to work with Brock Lesnar. And, there's been other times where Stan Hansen dropped the belt and ran over it. And there's been, all types of, Bruiser Brody was another one. It's like, when you are an independent wrestler and you have to make your bills and you have to make your shots and you got to make this thing work, you got to make it work. You know what I mean? So when you're working with a company that thinks that they're the WWE and they're not paying you like the WWE, and they think they own you, and they try to make decisions for you that don't make any sense. Right. Well, then you go, hey, that doesn't make any sense. Let's work here. And when there's no give on the other side and nobody wants to work together, it just implodes, So I'm still here, and there are 3 regimes gone, like those people that were there at that time. And what they were doing at that time was absolutely silly. Like, I took the belt to Japan for the first time in a decade. Like, whoa, so you were just making history with it, but I was trying to, like, my thing was, this is what I have, the NWA. So let me make this thing as rad as I can possibly make it. Let me do everything I can possibly do. If you're going to put the belt on me, let me do everything I can do to do something for the company. And they were like, not into it, and they were just like, well, we don't really care about what you're doing. And when somebody's doing something, when somebody's an independent wrestler and they're basically going from booking to booking to booking, when you totally kick somebody in the nuts, you hurt their business. So it's like, you're trying to like ruin somebody's business because there's ego involved and there's politics involved. It's like, I'm just not the type of person that goes, oh, okay. I'm the type of person that goes, no, fuck that. That's stupid. Do what I want. Yeah, no, I don't like, I'll work with anybody and I won't just do what I want to do. But it's like, if it's not right, I want to at least have a discussion about it. I'm a man. I'm not like, I'm not just going to be like, oh, thank you. You're going to do this for me. You're going to do everything for me. I don't like, the business doesn't owe me anything. I get that. Mm-hmm. But if I'm navigating through the business, I'm looking out for myself, first of all, you know what I mean? Yep. So if you're trying to hurt my business, I'm just not going to do stuff like that. And them trying to hurt my business was very, very silly. Like, they were very petty and they were just being dumb about it. And, they owed me money that they didn't pay me. And there was a lot of just shadiness. They had shady insurance deals and all types. That's why that regime ended up falling, because they ended up getting sued for some insurance fraud or something. I don't quote me on that. They got sued for something and they lost the NWA in the deal is what happened. So whatever, it's like public record, whatever happened. But whatever that was, it just shows their character. You know what I mean? So, and I'm still around and I do stuff that is completely on the up and up, and there's a bunch of smiling faces and we're packed all the time. And you know what I mean? So it's like, it's a shame because I grew up watching the NWA and having the NWA belt, but the people I was working with at that time, they weren't Eddie Graham. You know what I mean? They weren't, they weren't the NWA. They were still
the same championship as the first man that you ever seen in wrestling. How special is
man?
Yeah, that's dope.
That's why that was my question. Cause I was just like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's dope, man. It's like, having the freedom to do what I want and having the fact that I did that. I know I main evented in Japan, I main evented in Australia and Mexico and Puerto Rico and Canada and all over the States and worked with all these legends. Man, it's good, man. It's I'm content. And that's the best thing, is to be, because I'm in the twilight of my career in the ring, but man, I'm content. Like, I did what I did. It's like I didn't think I was going to get what I got when I started. I just thought, man, this is awesome. I'm in the business. I never thought, that I would travel the world and hold these championships and wrestle. Look at the other side of the ring and there's dusty roads. Come on, man. I didn't know that was going to happen in my life. Rocky Johnson,
right.
Guys like that, legends. I can go on, on and on and on and on. But yeah, man, it's a win. You know what I mean? And when I went to Puerto Rico, my wife was on vacation and she got stuck there because of 9/11. And I ended up being on the island, and I met my wife there. So I met my wife through wrestling. So, I just look at life that way, man. It's like all the positives, all the things that happened that were good about it. And the NWA was unfortunate. And at the end of the day, I would have done things exactly the same. Those guys, I think they should be embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed for the way I acted. Would I do it differently? No, not at all. It's unfortunate that I didn't have that long run with that belt, but to be honest, it wasn't the same company anyway. Like, I wanted to be at Eddie Graham's NWA. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to be in some, state fair in Ohio with 30 people. You know what I mean? I wanted to, at that time when they were doing that, I was in, sellouts in Cork and Hall. That's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be a pro wrestler like Terry Funk, like Bruiser Brody. I didn't want to be some guy in front of 16 people. You know what I mean? So anyway, it is what it is.
Got you. Well, before we wrap up, we got our last question. I always love asking it. When it's all said and done, because you did say you're in the twilight part of your in-ring career.
That's correct.
With that being said, what do you, when people hear the name Sheik, what do you want that legacy to be?
Believable.
Okay.
That's perfect.
What does that mean? When you say believable, what does that mean?
Just that they bought my bullshit. You know what I mean? That I suspended their disbelief. That I made them feel. That I made them emote. That they went home and talked about it. That they said, "Holy shit! Did you see what that guy did? That how did he do that?" You know what I mean? That's I don't want to just I just want to carry on the legacy of the architects of this business. I want to carry on the same teachings that Eddie Graham told Dory Funk Sr. and told Kevin Sullivan, and Kevin Sullivan told me. I just want to carry that on. I want to tell Alexander Hammerstone. I want to tell Jacob Fatu. I want to tell Myron Reed. I want to tell Alex Kane. I want to tell JV Dahl. I want to tell Viva Van. I want to tell all these people what they told me, because everything I learned in this business, somebody taught me. Every time I made a right turn, it was because somebody guided me and told me, "Hey, don't go left. There's some bullshit under that rock." You know what I mean? And they taught me, how to live on the road, how to make a living, how to be a professional wrestler. It's a completely different business, but is it really? It's still the same business. It's just a different package today. It's still professional wrestling, and it's still storytelling. It's always going to be that, And as soon as everybody learns that athleticism with psychology, just besides psychology of a hurt wing or a hurt this, storytelling psychology with athleticism, where everything means something. You don't just do something to do it out of context. As soon as everybody realizes that, because I can't do the athleticism, but as soon as those guys meld it and put them together, the business is going to have another resurgence. If that doesn't happen, it's just going to be like watching BMX racing or watching people on skateboards, looking at all their tricks. And then the UFC is going to morph into professional wrestling because the UFC already brought promos into it. So if the UFC is just like, George Hackenschmidt back in, whatever, the 40s or whatever. And they're just at that realm right now. They're introducing promos. And pretty soon, if they don't already, they're going to be like, hey, how about you win the first one and then I win the next one on the return? And that's the way it's going to be, man, if it's not already.
Dude, you already low-key had it with Conor McGregor doing a promo with a broken leg on the floor. Yeah. I said, bro, you got a full broken leg.
Dude, everything behind that screen, everything behind that camera is a work. As soon as the world realizes that, everything behind the camera is a work, and that Jake Paul is showing everybody. It's all just, dude, that's just, it's a YouTuber going out there and making millions of dollars.
Eddie Kingston said him and CM Punk was real.
He definitely
said he doesn't respect him, don't like him.
And if it's a money fight, it'll happen, man. And it's just like Rocky. Rocky didn't realize Mickey was like, oh, they weren't setups, but we gave you the ones. You know what I mean? That's how boxing is too. It's like they manipulate it. So, oh, this guy has a great right hook. Oh, this guy's susceptible. He always gets knocked out to a right hook. Put them together. Boom. It's like everything's manipulated.
Definitely. Man, well, we just want to thank you, man. Thank you for keeping it real. Because you definitely you said your goal is for be believable, bruh. Yeah. You have done that and still doing that to this day.
Oh, thank you guys, man. It's my pleasure. My pleasure for sure. Happy 100.
Hey, Hundo. And look, we got fighting for our 100. Shoot, I'm putting this.
Hey, I love it.
PCW Ultra. We are always family with you guys. I don't know what it is that we're gonna have to work about or talk about.
We were supposed to be there for their event, right?
Yeah, we were going to be there, but then COVID shut it down. So we feel it.
I just want to go on record by saying this: COVID is a ball-headed hoe. But anyway,
ball-headed, no edges, ball-headed hoe with no hair.
I just saying this bald-headed scallywag. That's just ruined everything.
I got a meeting tomorrow at noon for a new building. So if that works out, I'm gonna check it out, a new building tomorrow. So and then after that, if that ain't the one, we're gonna check out more. So we're gonna keep moving forward. I'm hearing, could be wrong, but I'm hearing from like some pretty important people that LA might shut down again at the end of the month. So I don't know.
Because if you look at the news outlets on Monday, they were saying the most recorded cases in history of us having this thing was like 1 million in a day. Mm-hmm. So the writing's there on the wall.
It is,
unfortunately. Let me keep my other thoughts.
Back to DVDs and a lot of weed.
Man. Red cups up,
and a lot of babies. A lot of babies. Oh my God. 9 months from now, we're gonna have triple the amount of people we have on this planet. I promise.
Tell me about it.
But definitely RSM is definitely PCW.
Right.
Yeah, we Sheik, I can speak for all of us, man. Like after that show we went to in October, we became fans for life.
Oh, thank you, man.
And we rock. Just know we rock for PCW Ultra all the time.
I love hearing that, man. We, the thing from the beginning there was to make independent wrestling like no other independent wrestling shows, to make it a fan experience that even for like the food, the beer, the meet and greets, the vendors, everything is just to make it cool, man. And we've just been so lucky and fortunate that we just had so many people respond in a good way. But we've delivered, man. We've delivered in a big way, man. And we put on great shows and all the people involved with that, man. I mean, just the fact that people get into the building on time. The show starts on time. It's run from top to bottom the way it's supposed to be run. And that's just our staff. I'm crazy and I need it a certain way, and everybody just subscribes to it and they do it and they have faith in me, and man, it works. And I'm just happy and hopefully we can come back sooner than later.
Yeah, I'm a talented man. I'm throwing it out there in the wind. If you ever need a special guest referee,
Here
a
we
ring
go.
announcer, a manager,
Here we go.
Commentator.
I'll do the interviews. The same.
Going
Bro.
into
We shooting our
business
shot. We
for
shooting our shot.
himself.
I will even sacrifice my sand and be that fan plug and take a fireball from you. Just whatever you need.
What if a fan spits in your mouth
good.
though? What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna tell
What if a fan spits in your mouth? The COVID season going on. The fan spits in your mouth. They spit their COVID in your mouth. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
I'm gonna say it tastes like COVID
Omicron and not the Delta.
COVID pussy.
Say that again, Alex. It tastes like what?
COVID pussy.
It's the new variant. It's the new variant. It's COVID pussy. COVID. That's what they call it. COVID.
Caboosey.
You don't want no COVID.
Okay, COVID. Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up.
So while we add them in and in closing, man, how about just let the people know, how can they continue to support PCW, and also, how they can continue to follow you, and anybody just connected to PCW, just let them know.
Yeah, man. So you could always support. You could donate. You could buy merch. You could do all that good stuff. You can go to PCWUltra.com. Go to @PCW Ultra on Twitter. There's a link tree with all types of stuff. There's on demand. You could support by subscribing to our on demand. And I mean, our on demand is Great Muda, John Morrison, Rob Van Dam, Muda. Did I say Great Muda already? Mick Foley, James Strickland, Penta, Phoenix, Tessa.
We've had them all.
Tajiri.
Tajiri.
Well, we don't have Tajiri now, but yeah.
But he'll be there.
Yeah.
He's gonna be there. He's gonna be there. Man, so just again, thank you, man. Thank you for raising some mayhem and violence with us, bro. And man, look, you already know what we say. Catch us ringside where all the mayhem goes down. And we out.